All right, hello. Would you mind screen sharing with me? Am I screen shared? Or whatever the term is?
Yes, you are now co-host.
Fabulous. All right, hello everybody. I'm Lee from the Aerospace Museum of California. Today I'm super excited because I get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, and that is space. So today I'm going to take you guys for a little journey through our solar system. We're going to also get a sense of how big our solar system is with a scale model. So a scale model is something that helps you put into perspective the size of something. So we're going to shrink our solar system down today. Should be a lot of fun. During this talk, I'm going to be asking you guys lots of questions. So please don't be shy. Please feel free to participate. We have a chat here. So please, if everyone can start by sharing the name of your favorite planet, or if just any planets that you know. What planets do you know? If you want to start off by writing some of those in the chat, that would be awesome. I would love to see that. So as you guys are typing that, I see Venus, Earth, that's wonderful. Yes. Mars, awesome. You guys know your planets, that's great. So to start us off, we're going to talk about what a solar system is. So to do that, I'm going to share my screen here. And we're going to hop into this cool solar system exploration site from NASA. So a solar system is basically a star and everything that orbits or goes around that star. So here you can see we have all the planets in their orbits around our star, which is the sun. So we can zoom in onto the sun here. We'll get a little closer. Nope, that was Mercury. All right, we're gonna find our sun soon enough. All right, there it is. So our star is the sun. So all the planets in our solar system are orbiting the sun. Does anybody know how many planets we have in our solar system? Does anyone know? Let's see, how do you view the chat from, or let's see. All right, oh, I see some new things on the chat. Awesome, 9 planets I see, okay. So there used to be 9 planets, but actually one of our planets, Pluto, got demoted. So now we just have 8 planets. But yes, we did used to have 9, that's very good. Awesome, so now we know what a solar system is. So now that we know what a solar system is, let's make a scale model. So I want you to imagine that I'm a wizard and I shrunk our solar system down. So I shrunk our star down, so it is now the size of this exercise ball. All right, so imagine that big sun that you look up at the sky in every day is now just this exercise ball. Still pretty big, right? So we're gonna go through all the planets. If our sun were this big, how big would the planets be? So we're gonna go through each of those planets and learn a little bit about them along the way. So the first planet closest to the sun, does anybody know what that planet is? Which one's the closest to the sun? All right, don't have too many responses for that one. That's okay, it's a little tricky to remember all the planets in their order. The planet closest to the sun is Mercury. So Mercury is the planet closest to the sun, and it is the smallest planet. So actually, compared to the sun, if that were our sun, Mercury would just be a teeny little grain of rice, really small. So Mercury would be very, very, very small compared to this. It is our smallest planet. And even though it's the closest planet to the sun, it's not the hottest. So that actually leads me to our next planet, Venus. Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system. At this scale, Venus would just be the size of a pea seed. So it would not be very large either. Bigger than Mercury, but not that big. Venus is considered our sister planet. It gets super hot on Venus. It gets to degrees of 926 degrees Fahrenheit. So it gets really, really hot on Venus. The reason for that is because it has a thick atmosphere. I see a question in here, is it round? Yep, all planets, to be considered a planet, they have to be spherical in shape. So all of our planets are round. Good question. All right, so our next planet is one that you're hopefully familiar with. It's this guy. Does anybody know what planet this is? You guys should be knowing this one in the chat. Yeah, that's right, it's Earth. So this is Earth. Does anyone have a guess? If this were the size of our sun, how big would the Earth be? So we have a grain of rice, we have a pea seed. Any guess how big Earth would be? If it were a piece of food, would it be an apple? Would it be something smaller, something bigger? All right, I don't see any guesses, and that's okay. I see apple. So Earth is really tiny compared to the sun. It would just be the size of a pinto bean, tiny little pinto bean. That's all Earth would be. So our Earth is very special for a few reasons. Can anyone share some of the reasons why Earth is so unique and so special as a planet? Water, yeah, that's right. 70% of our planet is covered with liquid water, which is awesome. And it's essential for something else that's super awesome about Earth, and that's life. Because of all that water on our planet, we have life. We are all talking here today. So Earth is a really awesome planet. Our next planet is this one. Does anyone recognize this planet? This is our closest neighbor. This planet is Mars. This is Mars. So Mars is our nearest neighbor. And Mars is much smaller than Earth. It's about the size of this little couscous, little tiny couscous right there. A lot of people look at Mars and they think it must be a pretty hot planet because it has this red color. But actually Mars is colder than it is here on Earth. The reason for that red color is because of rust, basically rusty iron oxide in the dust on the surface of Mars. Mars is not quite the same size as Earth. It's about half the size of Earth. So not quite as big. So thank you for that question. Something that's really exciting about Mars is that in the year 2034, not too long from now, NASA is planning on sending astronauts to go and live on Mars, which is super exciting. So keep an eye out for that in the year 2034. So after Mars, there's something called the asteroid belt. So the asteroid belt might sound like a fancy thing that holds up your pants, but it's not that at all. The asteroid belt is basically a thin disk of little rocky objects called asteroids. So beyond Mars, I would want a cool asteroid belt too. That'd be pretty nice. So beyond Mars, we have that asteroid belt in Earth's orbit, or in the sun, in the orbit around the sun. So beyond the asteroid belt, then we start getting into the gas giants. So here's a planet. Does anyone recognize this planet? Uranus, good guess, but this one is actually Jupiter. So this is Jupiter. Jupiter is famous for a red spot on its surface. So you can see that red spot there. That red spot is actually a storm. So it's a huge storm that's always going on Jupiter's surface. So does anyone have a guess? This is our biggest planet in our solar system. We know Earth is just the size of a little bean. How big do you think the biggest planet in the solar system is with our scale model? Is it the size of a tennis ball, size of a cantaloupe? Orange, okay, orange is a good guess actually. Pretty close, it's about the size of a peach. So Jupiter would be about the size of a peach at this scale. So even for the biggest planet, it's still very small compared to our sun. So that red spot that you saw on Jupiter, it's so large. Jupiter is such a big planet that the entire Earth could fit inside of that storm. So Jupiter is a very huge, impressive planet. This next planet that we're going to talk about has a nice ring to it. It's Saturn. So Saturn has these beautiful rings around it that are made of ice and rock. And Saturn, on the scale, would be about the size of a plum. So Saturn is still one of the biggest planets that we have, the second biggest one, not quite as big as Jupiter. Something that's really cool about Saturn is it's the least dense planet. This gas portion in the center of those rings, it's not dense at all. If you had a bathtub big enough and you put Saturn into the bathtub filled with water, Saturn would float on top. It is a very, very light planet. All right, so next we're moving on. We have this planet. This planet is called Uranus. So Uranus is a very cold planet. It is the coldest planet in our solar system. This planet has very long years. 1 year on Uranus is 84 Earth years. That's a long time to wait for a birthday. So given this scale model, if this were our sun, Uranus would just be the size of this little crab apple. So definitely smaller than the other two planets, but much bigger than Mars and Earth and those closer inner rocky planets. All right, we have one last planet to talk about. Does anybody know what the most distant planet in our solar system is? The most distant planet. All right, I'm not seeing any guesses. So this planet is the most distant one. This is Neptune. So Neptune, it's named after the Roman god of the sea. So this planet is very windy, very cold, dark, and windy. The winds on this planet reach speeds of 1,200 miles an hour. That's really fast. That is 2 times the speed of sound. So this planet is just about the same size as Uranus. It's about the size of a little strawberry. All right. So those are all of our planets. Those are all the planets in our solar system, which is awesome. So sometimes it's hard to remember all of those planets. So I'm going to show you guys something to help you remember all of those planets. All right, so here we go. All right, so there's something called a mnemonic device. That's basically something that helps you remember different things. So this is a good way for you to remember the order of the different planets. My very excellent mother just served us nachos. So you can use that to remember Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. All right, so those are the order of our planets. Very exciting. Something else that's really cool about the solar system is that there's more than just the planets out there. It's not just the planets in our solar system. There's other stuff beyond it. So this little tiny blue box that you see here, all of the planets are located in that tiny little blue box. Beyond that, we have something called the Kuiper Belt. So the Kuiper Belt is where Pluto lives. So we mentioned Pluto earlier. Pluto is basically a dwarf planet that's located inside the Kuiper Belt, which is a series of icy and rocky objects that are orbiting in a disk around the sun. And even beyond the Kuiper Belt, there's something called the Oort cloud. So most of the solar system is in a disk shape, but the Oort cloud is a spherical cloud all the way around our sun. So the Oort cloud is massive. So to give you a sense of how massive it is, how massive our solar system is, if this were our sun, if we shrunk our sun down to be this size, remember Neptune, the strawberry? This little strawberry, Neptune, would be 2 miles away, 1.5 miles about, 1.5 miles away. So this strawberry would be 1.5 miles away, Neptune would be that far away. But if you wanted to leave our solar system, if you wanted to get out to the edge of the Oort cloud right here, you would need to go 5,000 miles away. You would need to go all the way from Sacramento to Ireland. That's how far away you'd need to go in order to leave the Oort cloud if this were actually a shrunken version of our sun. So crazy, crazy, crazy. We have a huge, huge solar system. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed exploring the solar system with me today. Before I head out, I wanted to see if anybody has any questions. Does anyone have any questions about the planets or the solar systems that I can answer? All right, I'll just wait a minute, see if anyone has any questions. How big am I compared to Neptune? I'm not quite sure I understand the question. Oh, how big would you be compared to the actual planet Neptune? Neptune is very large, so it would be much, much bigger than you. That's a good question, but I don't know if I can really answer that. We'll have to do a little math and crunching in order to answer that question. So I apologize that I can't really answer that for you. Does anyone have any other questions? See some smiley faces. All right, well, thank you so much from the Aerospace Museum of California. We hope you enjoyed this presentation and have an awesome rest of your day. Thank you.